Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the fuck it is?
Aries and Andy, Chew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut cocaine. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Fuck being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Cry, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was sucking on your mama's tit.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism,
Sexism,
much love to my loyal bitch bag holders.
rollers, clip loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Hey, what's happening, boys and girls? A little bit of business before we get to the business. Dude, you said Andy called my room and you said you ordered Jimmy John's and it wasn't agreeing with you, or you said you shouldn't have ate it?
It might have affected me. It might have been a little too much food today, this early.
Dude, from the club, we're in Tacoma, Washington, and at the club for like 2 nights in a row, and I'm really, trying to, this time, I know I've said it a million times, but I'm really trying to get my shit together physically.
And you are.
And I am. I'm making strides. So I've been eating nothing but salads for the last couple nights, and they have a taco salad. But Jesus, dude, this morning before I came over here, as I was brushing my teeth, I was farting and belching damn near at the same time. And I literally could smell ground beef coming out of both ends of me, dude.
So disgusting.
I'm telling you.
It's so disgusting.
It was like, it was as though you, like when you get the salad and you open the lid and it smelled like fresh ground cooked beef. Nigga.
With ass.
With ass.
Dude. No, man. I just, the Jimmy John's. First of all, what I'm really discovering and really enjoying is that the delivery. I ordered the thing. I put the phone down. And I swear, like the commercial.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here and I hear a knock on my door. And I walk out the door and there's no one there. And I look down. My Jimmy John's sandwich is there. And the chick is already getting into
Just
the
on the
elevator.
floor?
It's
in the
sitting
bag.
in
In
the
the
bag
bag.
in the
Right.
corner, though. It's on the corner. Like it was delivered like the hands for the no contact delivery kind of way. And I was like, damn, man, this Jimmy John's is something, man. They do not fuck around.
Well, listen, man, we're in Tacoma. Ain't no life here, really. Ain't nothing to do here.
We're in the gritty city.
Yeah, the gritty city. Big shout out to, where do we always go when we come here?
Southern Kitchen.
Southern Kitchen, one of my favorite spots in the country from my show, Triple D. That chicken fried steak, man, with the brown gravy and the onions. And that mac and cheese, brother. Oh,
you telling everybody you're working hard, trying not to eat.
Well, no.
You're allowed to have a meal.
Yes, and this was the one I planned. Catfish fillets, collard greens with that vinegar and the hot sauce. Man,
I wanted breakfast because I'm out here, and because of the way I'm eating right now, I have to eat early and I have to finish early. So I'm done eating at 6:30. So I can have breakfast out here. So I was excited to have breakfast.
Right.
So I went for the breakfast food, but I'm going to tell you, I saw those that mac and cheese come out to your plate, and I was jealous.
It was cheesy and a little chewy from the cheese, the way it was made, and it had the brown,
the bubbly crust.
Oh my God!
I saw that. I was a little disappointed that I didn't go with the dinner instead of the breakfast because it looked fantastic.
It was so soulful, nigga. In my mind, I was like, last night. When I heard you say, do-do-do-do, oh, Johnny, and you know my name is Ray. I'm sorry. That's how good it was.
Yeah. And you did have the collard greens with it, too.
Yes. I love the collard greens. Collard greens was good. Before we get to the business, I was on Instagram yesterday, and I saw this clip. And, we talked about this last week, the Matt Rife shit. And I just want to expand on this a little bit more, not go into big detail, but it seems like people are piling on him now. And what's crazy is there's a clip where somebody edited together where I guess he was on it's either Jimmy Kimmel,
I think it was Kimmel.
or Fallon. But he was like, and he's saying, kind of frustrated, like maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm just not funny. And then they cut to the person who put this clip together and said, well, because you're not funny. And then they went on to say, you know, I watched this Netflix special and then I'm reading all the comments. And a lot of the comments are the same where people are going, you know, he's great at crowd work. But as far as the material, when you watch the special, if he ain't doing crowd work, he's really not that funny. And I'm scratching my head because I'm going, is there something I missed? Did we miss? Because I remember when you and I were in Canada, when we went to one of the greatest barbecue spots ever, the Canadians, who would know? Who knew? Who? And you couldn't perform with me the next weekend at the Comedy Zone. So they had Matt Rife take your spot. And he opened for me. And I've seen Matt a million times at the Laugh Factory, but this is the first time he opened for me. And like I said, Matt got them comedic hands, man. And I remember that time me, you, and Tara were all sitting in the balcony. Remember that?
Right,
at the Laugh Factory and watching him. Did we miss something? He's not a legit funny guy.
No, he's a funny guy.
So I don't understand why the hate.
Because they don't want to like him.
Oh, that's crazy.
No, you can make someone not funny in your mind if you want to get in your head and go, no, this is a horrible person.
But I could see if it was. And listen, maybe I'm blowing it out of perspective because whenever he shows his some of his pictures on Instagram, you know, he's got the big fucking selfie with the audience, and it's a packed fucking theater. So I'm letting a few crazy, because what I was gonna say was, when you look at the comments, a lot of people are saying this. I could see if it was maybe one or two, but it seems like a lot of people are saying this. But in perspective, is it slowing down his steam? Is he not able to sell out a theater? Is he not the hottest motherfucking ticket right now? So I'm losing perspective because the dude is legitimately funny.
Yeah, it's just there's enough people that most of these people that are making these comments don't really care about comedy or Matt Rife. They're just jumping on a bandwagon of we got to tell everybody how good we are. This is what it's about. It's not about being good. It's about expressing your goodness on social media. It's about letting people know that you're with them and that you feel like they do, and that they're not alone, and that you have compassion for them as well, even though you're just following the crowd to wherever it's going. I don't know where it's going.
A legion of morons.
Yeah, it's upsetting, but but Matt is making his, and I guess this is what's kind of funny about it when they said, if it's not his crowd work, he's not funny. Well, Matt made it because of his crowd work. So if that's but they're also trying to, vilify him because he does roast kind of comedy, and that's what his crowd work is. That's what some of his jokes are, and that's who he is. And I don't understand. You make it, and you can make so many people happy, but you get enough people to go, that's wrong, and they're gonna get on. There's like an express bus to That's Wrong Town. Right. Everybody's looking for the bus to jump on it so they can be good people. Be a good person. You don't have to side on one.
I wish social media was a monthly subscription. Charge people $75.
I wish it didn't.
That way everybody can't be on it. Because everybody don't deserve to be on it.
Yeah, I just wish it didn't exist.
It's given so much power to people who don't deserve it. It's just ridiculous.
And the people who were in power before, the people that they said that this got rid of the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers are back, man. They figure out a way to get their power. They're not losing power. Maybe you have other options because Matt is one of the people who were able to get the public, and it worked out for him. But truthfully, they still have their power.
There's this fucking moron on Instagram who does this thing where his message is to tell you basically, don't care about what other people say or think about you, be you. Here's how he delivers the message. He'll go into a public place, mainly I think like a grocery store, and he'll run from out of nowhere up to the camera and take whatever two beverages he grabbed from shelves and pour it all over his head and all over himself, get it all over the floor, and then delivers his message like, it ain't about what this person think or what that person think. You gotta be you. And I'm going, somebody's gotta clean that up. Somebody at that store or some poor fucking employee who's not even making a lot of money has to clean up your shit because you wanna use your platform to do whatever you wanna do at somebody else's expense so you can go viral and for likes. You fucking douchebag. That's ridiculous.
But that's who he is. He is being him.
At someone else's expense.
A douchebag, though.
That's ridiculous.
You know, people will show who they are.
Ugh. Okay. Time for the meat and potatoes. Andy brought to, and I like what you said about how did we miss this one? Andy brought to my attention the comedy Dirty Grandpa. We're going to be talking about Dirty Grandpa and I'm going to say a must see documentary on Apple TV about Michael J. Fox. It's called Still. People, you got to watch this. It's powerfully moving. But Dirty Grandpa with Robert De Niro and Zac Efron.
Not powerfully moving, but just fucking funny.
Oh, this is funny. Yeah, that's separate. Fucking hilarious.
You know, I saw it before, and I watched it by myself.
Yeah.
And then this time I watched it with my son. And my son's sense of humor and my sense of humor and his laugh, my laugh, it changed the movie for me. Funny movies, and you say this in your set when someone comes by themselves. Hey, comedy's a team sport.
Yeah.
You can't come to laugh alone. You want to bump elbow. You know, that you say that. And never was it more true than when I was watching this, because when I saw it with him, it changed the movie for me.
You know, just in terms, again, of guys' comedic immaturity, this movie is for any dude. But because the movie is about De Niro and his grandson and their bond and their relationship, yeah, it is kind of a father-son thing you could do. But even if it wasn't, even if you didn't do that, and it was just two dudes, it's still hilarious.
It's hilarious
because it's that immature funny that we're prone to have. But again, yeah, there is that connection.
You go on that roll when someone laughs and it takes you to laugh, and then you're laughing and they laugh more, and it just extends the laugh because we're as dudes. And I'm not saying women won't find this funny. I'm just saying as dudes, and because it's dude centric. Man, we just laughed our ass off.
Dude, whoever was playing Cousin Nick, that fucking part was hilarious when he talked about, first of all, the crop dusting. I never heard that phrase. I've never seen that. But basically, he's smoking weed out of a vape pen, and he finally convinces Zac Efron to give him a hug because at this point, the grandmother has died, and this guy is like a fucking A1 fuck up, and just fuck up, pothead, everything, disgusting. And at one point, he convinces Zac Efron to give him a hug. And he goes, and Zac is, of course, apprehensive. And he's like, all right, I'm only going to do this if you're going to get your shit together and behave. Are you going to behave? And the guy goes, yeah. I'm on the straight and narrow. And then as he goes in for the hug, he tries to blow weed in his face during the hug. And I thought that was funny when he used the term crop dusting because I had never heard that before.
I've heard it as farting, but I never heard it as...
No, I never heard that before.
Yeah, crop dusting is what you do at a restaurant when you walk by all your tables and you fart on the table.
That's hilarious.
Cousin Nick, right? That's Adam Pally.
Oh, okay.
I was able to look it up. I looked it up real quick before you even got it.
And then when he's telling a story about it, I guess he was a veterinarian or something. He's talking about the dogs and the dog gushing cum. When he tells that story, just a disgusting.
But he does it in a very straight manner, very matter of fact. His voice is flat. He doesn't. Right. So it's even funny.
He kind of reminded me of T.J. Miller a little bit.
Yeah.
If T.J. Miller didn't get canceled and could still work, that would have been his part.
Yeah. Well, he's still on the road.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Dude, I text you and said, listen, man, I'm 15 minutes into this movie and I already love it because it felt like this is what About My Dad should have been.
Yeah, I didn't mind About My Dad.
That movie was terrible, dude. And again, you talking about them capitalizing on the heat of Sebastian Maniscalco. And Sebastian is Italian and De Niro is Italian. So I just thought for what that movie should have been potentially, with two Italians and playing up the Italian side of things, and De Niro and Sebastian, as funny as he is, that movie just failed to deliver, man.
I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it wasn't my must-see, but I didn't think it was bad. I didn't mind watching it. I didn't feel like I got ripped off. I wouldn't have wanted to pay to go see that.
And this is where, you go, this is a testament to, you can't always assume that because somebody is great in one aspect of comedy, it automatically translates to everything. And I think you mentioned this yesterday. There's a skill to comedic acting, you know? And just because you're a comedic actor don't mean you're going to be great at stand-up. And just because you're great at stand-up don't mean you're a great comedic actor. If you have the ability to pull off both, then yeah, you the man. You know, that's why, again, Eddie Murphy, one of the greatest. He could do both. So I just thought Sebastian would come out like gangbusters, and that didn't happen. And the funny thing is, Zac Efron's not a comedian. And this was just that dynamic between them two was 10 times funnier than that.
Let me see if this maybe is what it is with Sebastian. And I again, I didn't mind that movie. But when you say comedic actor and a comedian, I think that Sebastian's character on stage when he goes into that, aren't you embarrassed?
Aren't you embarrassed?
It's almost it's a little bit cartoonish of the Italian character.
Okay.
And so when he takes that to to his acting parts,
yeah.
And you're making it funny, I think it becomes almost too characterish of his comedic presence on stage, which just means his stand-up character is so powerful that it overtakes that acting. Because when he was in Green Book, and he wasn't trying to be,
but that was serious.
That's
acting.
what I'm saying. He wasn't trying to be a comedian.
Right.
He wasn't trying to be trying to funny it up.
Right.
He was awesome in Green Book. That when that scene around the dinner table, and I felt like there was that connection to the.
Yeah, but I gotta say, how much of it is it a stretch for you to play within your own culture?
Well,
and I only say that to say this. I was getting into. There was a clip that I had put up on my Instagram where Eric LaSalle, just let your soul glow, baby, from Coming to America. And he was on this dude's podcast, and he basically was saying how, rappers come along and they get these jobs based on the fact that you have the popularity of being a rapper or you got a hot song. And you take jobs, and Sam Jackson, once upon a time ago, spoke on this. He was frustrated how rappers at one point, especially in the 90s, were getting all these acting jobs and taking them away from actors. And of course, I got into it. I commented in the caption, and I got into it with a few people about it. And, somebody wrote in one of the comments, and I'm so glad because it was so true. Wow, a lot of you guys have such a low bar for what great acting is. Because people will go, well, DMX was a solid actor, and Ice Cube is a solid actor. And my comment was, how hard do you think it is for street niggas to play street niggas? That's y'all's bar? DMX was DMX in every movie. Name me a DMX movie, a movie where DMX wasn't DMX. A street nigga. Ice Cube is Ice Cube in every movie. And I've said this, Ice Cube has zero range. He's Ice Cube. So I love this comedian, Tommy Chong, who I used to know. And he said, and I said to one dude who was saying Ice Cube was good, I said, if Ice Cube played a doctor or a lawyer, tell me what would be different. And this dude, Tommy Chong, went, picture Ice Cube as a gynecologist. And he's like, all right, Miss Jenkins, I looked at your chart. Get up on that thing. That's Ice Cube. So I'm going back to my point with Sebastian. You're playing an Italian dude in an Italian community in New York. That's not a stretch.
It's not a stretch, but I think the comedian, the stand-up comedian, that personality overtakes his acting ability. I think he has the ability to do it, but you can't just make him a comic you can't take the stand-up guy and just put him next to Robert De Niro. That's what they tried to do.
I think you captured it best when you said that his stage persona is so big that it's like, if he's not doing that, can you be funny without that?
That's it.
And in that movie, or in any movie, you have to be able to be funny outside of whatever your shtick is on stage.
And that's why in this movie, Zac Efron is just playing his grandson. They do it. Actually, I'm not a Zac Efron fan,
right?
And I thought he did a great job in it, though.
Yeah, Yeah.
I thought it was it was funny. I mean, you know, it's still a comedy and it's still overly simplified. It's not like Life where all of a sudden you realize what you want in life. But it was good. It was good for being funny because he's not known. He's not a comedian, but his comedy chops were there.
Yeah. Listen, I think we have to give Robert De Niro the award for most iconic dramatic actor who's the best in comedies. Because again, Pacino don't do comedies. Jack Nicholson, he did As Good as It Gets, which is one of my favorite movies, but he doesn't do a plethora of comedies. Denzel doesn't do comedies. De Niro analyzed this, that franchise, the Fockers franchise, and this. Yeah. And at first, I was like, again, analyze this, analyze that. Funny. He's really more the straight man, the Billy Crystal, but he's playing a mobster. It's comedy, but he's playing an Italian mobster. Not a stretch. But in Meet the Fockers, he's totally different.
Guy.
For this, totally different.
But I might go a different way and go with a comedian who can be a great actor. And he's passed, though, is Robin Williams. I think Robin Williams did a great job at dramatic roles as well as comedy roles.
But you're saying the opposite with Robin Williams, right?
Well, Robin Williams is a comedian.
Yeah.
He can be a great actor. Robert De Niro is a great actor.
Oh,
That
okay, I see what you're saying.
Do
Right.
comic acting. So, but I put Robin Williams up there in being able to switch sides of acting.
But most comedians do make great dramatic actors.
Because they're all angry and sad inside.
Yeah, and yeah. Yeah, man. And I don't know who really wrote this motherfucker, but there was some great lines when he said, I would rather have Queen Latifah shit in my mouth from a hot air balloon. That's fucking grossly funny.
Dude, there was so many. The most ridiculous part, and you might have this in your notes or you might not. And it was the one part that I wanted to ask you about because I want to know Ari's reaction to this part because it's so like one of the parts where you'd go, that's either too silly or too much. But when they get in bed and then Robert De Niro takes off his boxers.
Now, I have to stop you real quick for that. But that's been done before when we saw that same scene with Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson in Anger Management.
Yeah.
Remember when they both in the bed and Jack takes his drawers off? So up to that point, I was like, oh, we've seen this before.
Right.
And that's another one. Jack Nicholson, As Good as It Gets, Anger Management. But go ahead, finish what you were saying.
And then, what's Zac Efron's name in this? I forgot his name. I'm sorry. I forgot. Here, I'll get his name real quick. Because I want to, because it's needed for that part. Damn it! I'm sorry.
In the future, whenever we're gonna discuss any movies,
write it down.
You should have this pulled up already.
I did. I had to pull it up.
Did you?
Jason. His name's Jason Kelly, but he goes. So they have the whole scene, and then you see Robert De Niro kind of
scooch towards him,
and then it seems like everybody's falling asleep, and then you just hear Jason, and then you cut to the scene, and there's just this dick next to Jason. And my son, we had to pause it there.
Right.
After the dick went away, we paused it.
Oh, that's crazy. That's great. Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that. That'd be fucking weird.
Just sitting there looking at the dick.
Yeah, we had to pause it.
And we were dying laughing. We paused it. We seriously did because we couldn't watch the next scene because then it cuts, it goes to black, and then they go to another scene.
Right.
I am laughing so hard, and I didn't laugh at that part because I was like, "That's silly. That's overly done, silly." But when my son was there, and you just hear and Jason.
Yeah.
And it cracked. And so for the rest of that weekend, I kept going. If Max was doing something and he wasn't looking at Max. He just started laughing. That's all I had to say to him. That's how funny it was because all I had to say, Max. And
I was going to ask you because I downloaded the X-rated, not the, what was it? The
uncut?
The uncut version. So I was wondering, damn, I wonder if Andy saw the uncut because I'm like, in the uncut, they probably they showed this, but in the non-uncut, I wonder if they showed that.
I don't know. I didn't even know. That's the one.
And you know what's so great about that, man, is they threw sense and logic out the window for the sake of comedy. Because the cock shot, the dick is right where his face is.
He couldn't have got
There's no way he could have. You know what I'm saying?
That's the first thing that entered when I watched it without Max. That's the first thing I thought.
Right.
It wasn't like, oh, because it was me.
Logistically, that just was impossible.
And it was me in my own head, not looking for the comedy,
Right,
just looking.
right.
But when Max and I were there and we saw it, the scene is just so funny. And he starts laughing, I start laughing, and then it's just over. We're just
it's
laughing.
over. Yeah.
So, but that's what this movie is, man. It's stupid,
And that cock
funny.
didn't look like it belonged to an old man. That looked like an in somebody prime cock.
The only way that could have been
There
funnier.
was no wrinkles. There was no stems or seeds in it.
The only way that scene could have been funnier is if they put googly eyes on it. If I would have,
like the cartoon. Yeah.
I would have laughed but I still laughed. So
Right.
it was very funny. But the people that are in this are just some guys that I think are very funny guys.
My girl is in there from Mad TV. Mo Collins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The part where, I want to ask you about this dude because I want to know if you know him because I know he did stand up too. Jason Mantzoukas.
No, I didn't even know he did stand up.
I thought he did stand up. I wasn't sure. He is fucking funny, dude. And everything he has these bit parts, but he
Right.
steals scenes.
Yeah.
I think this dude.
He didn't really blow me away in this.
Oh, when he's playing that, he plays that fucking the high. I'm in with the cops. Drug.
Yeah.
Everything about that is wrong. It doesn't work, and he made it work, even though it wasn't like you said. It's not this great. But how do you play like you he's a drug dealer. He owns that little shop, but the cops are letting him get away with the whole town. That is it's a weird character to play, and the way he plays it. I thought it was really great.
Yeah, I was just so happy for my girl Mo because that's one of those areas where people claim bitterness from me, and maybe a little so because I always felt like I and some of the cast members from Mad TV deserve more praise because I know what a powerhouse talent Mo is, and I worked with her and Deborah and Will, and yeah, I just anytime they get to do anything on a major level, I'm proud. Like Mo was a cast member on one of those Walking Deads, for a minute. And then for her to work with De Niro, she had 3 scenes with him. All her scenes were with De Niro.
And that guy that I was talking about, she's friends with the drug dealing cop in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's the cop, he's the drug dealer, and I don't know. I thought those scenes were funny, and Mo Collins is great. She is great. I mean,
she's one of the most talented females in the game, man. Like that's why when we were talking about the women being funny thing, I said, listen, I work with some of the funniest broads ever. And Deborah's heavy in the video game world. She's on the latest Call of Duty, and they got her face and everything as a character. So yeah, I'm proud to see any of my Mad TV alumni do well.
And that's what, and they do have some really cool actors who always have these smaller parts that are in this, and they're all doing something that I mean they let everybody's scene stand out. That was what was nice.
Danny Glover was hilarious when he punched dude in the dick on the way out in the wheelchair. Went bingo. That was fucking hilarious.
And it was funny to see Danny Glover in that too, because he's building up to go see his army. Is it Army or Marine buddy, whatever? Yeah. And then you come in and there's Danny Glover. And so this movie, the people that are in it are also it's a pretty cool movie.
The one thing, and I don't mean to bring the party down, but the one thing, like, when they had that serious moment between De Niro and his grandson, and he said, because the funny thing about this movie is his whole mission, De Niro in this movie, is to fuck a college girl. Because he was like, I was loyal to my wife for 40-something years, and, I never cheated on her, and I loved her, and I want to fuck. Now that she's dead and I'm single, I want to fuck. So that's his whole mission. But at one point, after he, I think when he gets out of the place, the old folks' home, and sees Danny Glover, and he goes, my wife is dead, my friends are dying, I probably got a couple years left, and I just go, God damn, that reality.
You didn't like it in the middle of it?
No, it's not that I didn't like it. I just went, wow. It's a reality that you gotta face. Like my wife's dead, my friends are dying. I'm upper room, nigga. I'm there.
Well, I don't want to bring the party down now, but since you walked us over there, let me just say this. My dad recently passed, and I'm hanging out with my mom, and I'm talking to my mom, and the reality of the conversation is, he passed. She's not that far off. And we had to have that conversation. And it was a weird conversation to have. Because I have to be, you know, she's telling me what she wants when she dies. Yeah. And so I'm having a conversation with my mom about what she wants. And I can't be serious for very long. So my mom tells me what she wants, and I go, I don't think I see that happening.
Yeah, that's why your sense of humor, man. that y'all motherfuckers, boy.
I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna do that, Mom. And she
my mother's 76, man, and I'm just like, damn, dude.
Yeah, my mom's gonna be 80 this year, and 81. She's gonna be 81. And I'm just
Dude, the scene where they're at the Flex Off in Daytona Beach. And De Niro and Zac Efron are both shirtless. And they're competing with the two Nimrods who they meet up with in the movie, who's like the boyfriends or who's with the girls in the movie. But at one point, Zac Efron says to one of the guys when they do this elaborate physical, what's that, Circus du Soleil type move.
Yeah.
Sup now, bruh? And I just was watching. I went, but white people steal everything from us. Our swagger, our style, our lingo. It just, Jesus Christ, man.
No, that, okay.
No, that's black shit.
Bra. No, it wasn't bra. It was bra.
No, he said bruh. He's saying bruh. Sup now, bruh.
That bra, that's a surfer term. That's from surfers. Surfers.
No.
Surfers have that lingo too.
No.
Yes.
I've never heard a white guy say bruh. Niggas invented bruh.
It's not bra, it's bra.
He's not saying bruh. He's saying bruh.
Then in your case, you're right. But if that's the case, but I heard it as the surfer
I've never
guy.
heard the surfer dude go bruh. You mean like, what's up, bruh?
Yeah.
Nah, son. I never heard that.
Yeah.
Really?
That's 80s
Nah, but
surf talk.
I know how he's saying it.
Okay.
That's the hip shit these kids say today. Yo, what's up, bruh? What's up now, bruh?
Well, if you're gonna go into there, let's go to the scene where they're doing the karaoke. This is the controversial scene in the movie.
Oh, well, yeah, I was going to ask you. Here's what's funny, man. Before that scene, De Niro is hanging out with the group of black guys whose asses he kicked when they were fucking with the black gay dude who was friends with the two girls. And as they sitting around smoking, I don't know who's writing this movie, but certain little things I thought was like, oh, shit. He's naming the whole Wu-Tang Clan, De Niro.
Yeah, you walk into the beginning of the scene, and he's walking in, and De Niro's naming all the...
Yeah, the Wu-Tang members. But at one point, he goes, what's up with the N-word? Can I say it? Can I not say it? And the black dude, the leader of the group of black guys goes, you say it when I say you can say it. And then cut to, he's hanging out, and they're doing karaoke at this club or bar or whatever. And De Niro's reciting the lines to Ice Cube's "It Was a Good Day." And so when he finished, there's a line in the song where the N-word comes up, and De Niro says it.
Well, he asks, he goes in it, he goes, do I say it? He goes like that.
In that scene, in that moment?
He looks at them, and they go back and forth like,
right.
He's like, I don't think he says it, but he's like this.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Right. So he says it, but then even more so, he doubles down when he finishes the song.
And he's walking off the stage.
And he's walking up the stage, and he goes, what do he say? Sup? What do he say? What's up?
I don't know how he said.
He said, you said, peace out, niggas?
Yeah, peace out.
And I wrote, so yes or no to De Niro saying nigga?
You know, it's like we said this. It's comedy. It's in the movie. It's written in the script. I wish he could have said it with a little less ER on it.
But then he wouldn't be white.
But he's naming Wu-Tang. You think he could have got that part right?
Yeah, but you know.
I'm just saying.
Right.
But maybe that was part of it too, because also to go back a little bit on this, the gay guy who's the friend, the friend. He's given him, he's just giving him the business.
Yeah.
De Niro's not like and making the guy go like, okay, like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But then when it comes down to it, and he was looking for someone was fucking with him.
Yeah.
De Niro's the one who stood up for him. So I think that's that kind of thing where those older guys, especially like the older dudes, they're going to give you a hard time. They're going to fuck with you.
Right.
But are you their friend? Do they have your back no matter what?
Right.
And that was kind of the little part that was in there that was never really. It's just such a side note to that whole scene and and in any part of this movie. But by the end of the movie, the gay dude and De Niro are friends now because De Niro hasn't changed, but the gay dude recognizes he's there for me.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting little interesting part, and then they do that karaoke scene. But when he's walking off and he says that, I got to be honest, this on the stage part, I got it. It was comedy. I don't know if it was necessary when he got off stage. Did you think it was necessary?
I would be a hypocrite if I backtracked on this. For what it was, I'm all for it. I thought it was hilarious.
You know who I really went to is my son. I watched my son.
Right.
And when he got off and he said it, Max started really laughing, and I said, then it's comedy. I judged it by that because I have my own political mind and all that into it. And I saw without any political part, and my son knows me. He knows how I feel about things. It was when laughter is guttural,
right,
and it comes from deep within.
Right.
That's just that's the feeling of it. And I think if we were able to eliminate people's insecurities and political correctness, people would probably do a little bit better laughing more than they do now.
Well, to show you that it works both ways, remember, Robert Downey in Tropic Thunder never said it. But also, he's in complete blackface. So pick your poison. You know what I mean? Either way, I thought both were funny. So whether you say it or whether you don't, you know, it could work.
Yeah, but okay. But here's the other thing, though, too. And when we say he's in complete blackface, he's not in complete blackface. Blackface is...
Well, he doesn't have the white lips.
Yeah, he isn't playing a character.
Pickaninny.
He's trying. He's playing a black... He is...
But he's still in blackface.
He's in blackface. And depending on how you want to interpret it, maybe even worse, because now we're looking at a white dude taking a black part. And today's the idea, because that's kind of the idea.
Well, you said the key word, take.
Take.
That's what they do.
Do take.
White folks take.
So that in itself is an interesting dynamic. But blackface, to me, I'm still trying to understand this. That is blackface. He's black, but he isn't playing the character, the cartoon, the making fun, the downplaying of who a black guy is. And that's when we get back into that Caliendo playing when he's Charles Barkley.
Brown.
No, Charles Barkley.
And James Brown.
And James Brown. But Charles Barkley, he plays Charles Barkley to play Charles Barkley, to do the voice.
Right.
Is that blackface?
Well, Frank never darkened himself. He just would be bald.
Bald and...
With a skull cap and, draw a little mustache, and that was that. But when he does James Brown, which, again, I say to this day, if you had ever seen that piece, was Eddie Murphy Nutty Professor-like. It was genius. It was done with complete taste. There's a way to do everything.
But there's people that would argue with you that it's
of course they
it's
would.
Wrong.
And those are people that shouldn't be at comedy clubs. Those are people I don't want to be friends with.
Or they were at the Saturday show late at Tacoma.
Yeah. I made a bitch cry, right?
Yeah, you did. Is this 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah, I think so. No.
You had a week
Ontario.
off. It was Ontario.
Right, Ontario, San Jose.
San Jose, you didn't have anybody cry, and then you...
So 2 out of 3 weeks I made white women leave and cry.
I only done one in the last month.
You gotta step your game up, nigga. You gotta step your crushing white women's game up. Dude, I'm gonna go back to something I said before, and listen. I know there's some bad white bitches out there, all right? But this is why, again, and I alluded to this when we talked about the Tupac doc, this is why I have a problem when I see dainty white women whipping niggas' asses in movies. Because historically, black women have had to be the strongest race of women on the planet for all that they have had to endure. And on top of that, be the batteries in our backs from what we had to endure. And I said, sometimes black women have to be the men that we are broken down and can't be. So, white women cry, man. They cry when you put pressure on them. Black women don't cry. They beat your ass. They take them earrings and them tracks out and undo that weave, and they get ready to knuckle up. It's hilarious, man.
Why, have you had a black girl want to knuckle up with you?
I told you. The one bitch told me she wanted to beat my head to the white meat. I'm telling you, man. My last note on this, and I think what we should do is instead of doing the Michael thing,
It's gonna be the.
it's gonna be a. I don't have a lot of notes on Gotti, so we should put Gotti on to finish this up.
Okay.
And then we could do Mike J. Fox next week.
Because Gotti has it's just a three-parter.
And I really don't have a lot of notes for Gotti. So, folks, there was another documentary on Netflix called Getting Gotti that we were gonna talk about for next week, but we'll talk about it on this episode. And then the next week's episode, you gotta watch Still. I even like it that way to give you guys time to watch it.
Yeah.
So you can really know to join in on us with the conversation. It's on Apple TV. It's called Still, about Michael J. Fox. But let me just say in closing with this.
Let's finish this one.
Dude, when I see a movie like this is the type of movie that gets my comedic dick hard. This is what I want to do. Movies where there's no holds barred. You just throw everything up against the wall and say, fuck it. That's the type of shit I want to do, man.
Well, did you like the part where, and I forgot the actor's name, but he's a good actor. He's playing the father of Zac Efron and the son.
I know, yeah.
But when they draw dicks all over his face, and the last 15 minutes of the last 10 minutes of the movie, there's and he's a serious actor. He's a good actor. I'm going to look him up, but he's doing this scene, and he has dicks on his face. Dermot Mulroney.
But again, we've seen that before. That's
but it was funny that he had to do it with. He had to do those scenes.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I've seen that before. Yeah. We've seen that. It's called Dirty Grandpa with Robert De Niro, and Robert delivers. That's what he changed his name to. Robert fuck that up. I'm trying to say Robert delivers, but I wanted something with De Niro. Robert deliver. Fuck it. They can't all be gems, folks.
But check it out because it is. It's worth the laugh. The movie it's supposed to have a little meaning at the end.
Yeah,
but it's worth the laugh. There's so many good laughs.
Oh, speaking of which, let me real quick. So I had a falling out with my barber, and I always say it for a long time. And I've been seeing my barber for 2 decades, and I have not had my hair cut by anybody else in over 20 years. And anytime I go to different cities, there'll be dudes who come up to me and go, "Hey man, here's my card. If you ever need a cut, I'm a barber. I got a shop. Come by. I'll hook you up for free." And my line has always been, I don't cheat on my barber. And kind of how Andy has this relationship with his girl comedically, I have the same with my girl. Like, we make each other laugh, dude. So that's one of the things I enjoy about her. So I was apprehensive to see a new barber, but I had to because my shit was woofing out. So I see this barber, and the first thing I tell this motherfucker is, "Hey man, keywords, I want to keep what little hair I got left. Keep and what little hair." So I told him, just taper up the beard, line that up, but as far as the top, just trim it a little bit, make it look nice and neat. I'm sitting there. I look down, and I got a glop of hair in my lap, and I already knew this nigga fucked up. So I'm mad, and it just sucks when you have to sit in that chair and pretend not to be. You either want to be mad or cry. But I'm just sitting there, and I knew what he did. So I left, and I get on the phone with my baby mom. She called me, and I'm like, "Yo, I'm so fucking mad right now. I just left the chair, blah, 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 blah." And I said, "This is why I say I don't cheat on my barber." And she goes, "Well, sometimes you just got to break up with a motherfucker." And that made me chuckle. And then I said, "Well, when you break up with a motherfucker and you get with somebody new, this is what happens. New sex." And nigga, my head looks like your beard when you had your shit shaved low. We look like an egg and a gerbil, nigga. I'm so fucking mad. I can't wait till my shit grow back.
Dude, you know what's really funny, though, when you said you hurt.
Yeah.
So I said, "Max, just take it down. Just, give me like a 2 on the top, man." And he's, "You sure?" And I go, "Yeah." So he goes, and he goes to do my head, and you hear, and there was nothing here. There's nothing to cut anymore. This is it. I'm done. This is it. I'm done. There's no more. It's little. There's just a little.
And there's no chance it grows back to what it was.
You know, I don't think that I could be one of those people that look like this today and then go get hair transplants and then like a couple months later come out and like, oh, it grew back.
Right.
I just couldn't do that. I mean, this is the reality of who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I
can't live the lie.
No, man. I always thought it was funny when Elton John, who was bald when he became famous. Like he was balding when he became famous. Right. And then in the 80s, when he came back with some videos, there he is with a full head of hair, and it's flipping around, and I was like...
Yeah, but he also wore butterfly wings.
Yeah, but it was ridiculous. I mean...
Yeah, well, that's Elton John.
Yeah, I guess. But, man, to me, it just seems ridiculous. So I'm going to run with it, but geez...
Don't let the sun go down on me!
Yeah, and this is going to get... This week he got it all shaped up from when I cut it off. Now this is my second time trimming the beard. Now it's just going to get to grow a little bit, so I'm excited.
Right.
I'm coming back with no hair on top.
Gotti. You know, speaking of mob shit, dude. You know, we never reviewed the movie, and I watched it the other night. It was on. How good Godfather 1 is. We never reviewed Godfather.
You always said when you asked me my favorite movie of all time, I say Godfather.
Jesus, man.
It's the best movie ever made, man. I think.
I don't think the best, but it is up there.
Tell me where the flaw is. Tell me where you watch the movie and you go, there's a mistake there, or this isn't right, or
no,
this
there's just some moments I don't know that I'm a fan of. Like when he goes to Italy to after he kills McCluskey and Sollozzo. I didn't like that whole part he was in Italy. But no, you're right. It's yeah. Godfather 2 is a harder watch for me. But Godfather 1 and that moment, this is what's great about Al Pacino. When he goes to rescue, he knows his father's going to be killed at the hospital. And he goes there and the cop, McCluskey, hits him and breaks his jaw. And then they have that moment where Al Pacino, Robert Duvall's character, Tom Hayden, is the consigliere, and Sonny are all in that room. Tessio's there, and they're talking about how to handle the situation. And prior to Michael killing McCluskey and Sollozzo, you see he's got this young, boyish, innocent-like charm. But the moment he breaks that plan down and he tells Sonny, it's not personal, Sonny. It's just business. He's the Don.
He's moved over.
And then when he comes back from Italy, that transformation, the boyish charm, the innocence, all gone. He's a cold-hearted, you see it in his eyes. Man, goddamn.
Dude, you know, but when you rewatch it, there's never like the first moment when I first watched The Godfather for the first time. And that scene where... now I'm not even going to remember his name. Who's the original Godfather in this?
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando. And he's telling me. But he's telling me who's going to come to they're going to come to you and they're going to offer you. They're going to want to make amends, or they're going to want to.
Whoever comes to you first.
Yeah, that's it.
That's who's going to assassinate you.
But when you're watching it for the first time and you don't know, and then Abe Vigoda. The guy that you don't know is going to be the guy.
Yes.
You think it's going to be all these other guys, and it's Abe Vigoda.
Right.
And you find out it's him. Man, that moment, you know, it's almost like it's not in the movie because it's not necessary, but you almost hear that dun, dun, dun.
Oh, even more so than that, he's at the funeral and he's trading looks with Barzini.
Yeah.
Knowing that Barzini killed Sonny, knowing that Barzini is going to try to kill him. And there's a moment where you can see where if he acted like, he wants to act like Sonny out of anger, but he also knows not to be Sonny because that's what got Sonny killed. But you could see it in the eyes, man. To act with your eyes is just Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
When Abe Vigoda looks at him, goes, Sonny, I like it was business. It wasn't, he said it was business.
Right.
Because there was just this.
Can you get me off the hook?
Yeah, can you get me off the hook? That whole scene, it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
My favorite is the scene with Carlo. That little farce you played with my sister. And then towards the end, when he finally gets Carlo to admit it was Barzini, and he tries to go, Michael, please get out of my sight. And as he's walking out of the house after Tessio has already strangled him with the infamous foot out the glass windshield, look at Michael's face with that brim hat. The coldness is there. Oh my God. Yeah.
We're reviewing Godfather, so talking about Gotti.
Yeah.
It's such a great movie.
When and this Gotti is 3 parts. The last episode is the longest at an hour, and the first two parts are at 48 minutes. But when Castellano gets killed, and they asked one of the mobsters, I forget who they asked, their response, I guess they asked Gotti, the response to it, he just said, what are you going to do?
Yeah, and that's when the guy knew.
Right.
But you know what was really funny to me in this? And this is where, the mob is such a weird entity in American culture. The reporter that they're talking to, who's talking about, she's reminiscing about that time.
Yeah.
And she goes, he was a superhero.
Yeah.
She didn't say a supervillain.
Right.
She called him a superhero. That's how, he was looked at in that community. Because the rest of the world, the rest of the United States, when they're doing the articles, he's a supervillain.
No, because when you watch it, especially in the second and third episode, the one reporter for one of the news stations in New York made a great point, which was that fourth trial where they really heard all the tapes where he's just talking about money and La Costa Nostra and gambling and violent murder. Up until that point, he made the point was all we'd ever saw of Gotti was $2,000 suits, the charm, But
you know who he is.
Yeah, you know who he is, but it's different knowing who it is versus the public is now hearing these tapes. And now he's being portrayed as the cold-hearted killer, whereas before the media was portraying him as this, this super figure that can light up a room with charm and
Teflon
pizzazz.
Don.
Right. So it took the hardcore tapes and a fourth trial for them to go, oh shit.
But even as she's talking about this, she's reminiscing. She's already lived through this. She's been through all the tapes.
Yeah.
She's a reporter, and she's talking
But I
about
think
it
she
today.
was charmed with him.
She was, and then they were going very good looking, and I was
Right.
I'm looking at him. I went, okay, but like in an Italian, kind of.
Listen, man, women sometimes like wild shit, nigga. That's a turn on. That's why that's why the character, and a lot of women said it, the character of Tony Soprano was sexy to them.
Yeah.
A mob boss, a boss, power, bad boy.
Looked up to.
Yeah. Women be in the sick shit, man.
Well, that's the same thing in. Names are not going to work out today. I can
Clues.
just,
Just give me clues.
it's Joe Pesci, Ray Liotta, De Niro. What movie was that?
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
Shame on you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's not.
Man card, hand it in.
It's not in here right now.
Oh.
I'm off this week, guys. I've been away from home for 3 weeks. I'm going back tomorrow.
No pussy, you ain't got your dick sucked, so you delirious.
It's
Like Al Pacino in Godfather 1 when Talia Shire comes in because she's mad he killed Carlo. She's hysterical. You're hysterical.
I'm not together, man. I'm telling you, I'm not. I cannot wait to get back home. I want everything that I'm supposed to have right now, and I don't have it. But that's why she was into Ray Liotta, because he was the tough guy.
Right, when he beat the dude up with the gun.
She saw it.
She said it turned me on a little
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, women like that, man. I'm telling you, man. Dude, I wonder if the mafia will ever return. Because the New York mafia is gone. Like the mafia's.
Is it?
I think
are they
no.
better? Or are they better at just?
Dude, if they were around, we would hear something. How can you be in part of the mafia is murder? Ain't no murders, ain't no stories, ain't no arrests, no racketeering, no money laundering.
There's murders, so we don't. All I'm
You
saying
think
is,
the mafia is still alive?
dude. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's just different. It's different. It can't be run the same way. But there's no way there's not organized crime. There's no way. It's a business. They're even better at it. And there's different. It's not just the Italian mafia. There's the Russian mob. There's different groups now.
Ain't no Indian mobs.
There probably is.
They couldn't scare nobody. Do you owe me money? You better pay up. I'm going to break your legs. Don't fuck around with me.
You saw when the guy brought the stick out and started beating the dude trying to steal the cigarettes.
That ain't mafia shit.
I'm going to break your legs.
I'm going to break your legs if you don't pay me my money. I'm going to throw some of my Indian street food on you. Dude, that scene in the first one, the guy that picks the lock with the box.
Yeah.
How did he pull that off? By the sheer weight of a human being in a box, the dude pulled him out the truck with no dolly. And then unless the dude was super short, he's standing erect in a box.
It's a refrigerator box.
Okay. But the weight of it, like they didn't show dude pull him out the truck with a dolly. So what and then you saw him move the box
with his feet.
No, the guy, the truck driver, when
Yeah,
he takes
yeah,
the
yeah,
box
I know.
out, you see him move the box physically with a human being in it.
But then you see the box move when he's trying to get in front of the door so he can pick the lock. He has to be able to move it over. So he walked. You see the box move. So they had something in there so that he could move around. I don't know, but
And then that motherfucker stood on his feet from daylight till nighttime.
maybe he dropped him off late. I don't know, but yeah, you do whatever
I
you
don't
have
know
to
how
do.
they pulled that off.
I guess you do whatever you have to do, but he put that. I think that's pretty ingenious. But I like what they said. The reason I believe it is because the way he set it up. For like a month, they went back, and I guess he's probably going over like 3 times a week. Yeah, right. So everybody you stop looking at it. You stop looking at it because you know that the first time he shows up, what is that? Second, third, fourth. By the time a couple weeks go by, you go, oh, that's just the dude jumping. Right. And he's going in and he's having the coffee. I mean, you're playing the long game. That made sense. I actually, and that was the only group, the OFTC, whatever. It wasn't the FBI. It was that other
organized crime task force.
Yeah,
yeah.
And they were the only ones who were able to get in. So that was kind of cool. And I love when they were talking about it. He goes, "We don't have the money. We're not like the FBI. We're a small group, but they have to be more ingenious when you don't have the money."
I don't get how. The police can't search your residence without a warrant, but they can tap your phone without your knowledge?
If they
There's something that seems illegal about that to me.
I'm not trying to.
Oh, this is where GTA Andy's about to appear.
No, I'm not. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, really? Because it seems like what you just said. You can't go into your house, but you suspect me of committing a crime. You can't go to my house and find the crime without it, but you can tap my phone. That does seem illegal. There is something, and then they have like that 90 seconds that they're allowed to listen to you. And if you're not saying anything illegal, they have to
for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
right.
This is it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That is such a gray area, and laws that were made that do over our 200 and whatever years that we've been a country. Yeah, these laws have been changed to benefit policing. And I don't know how I feel about that. When I watch that, obviously, if someone is criminal activity, they're killing people, they're doing, you want the police to be able to do something about it, but at what cost?
Yeah. I don't know. I just would think that if your rights are protected in terms of you can't come in my house without a warrant, they should be able to go, well, then that what they would know if they said, hey, we got a warrant to tap your phone. Well, then they would know not to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they do know that. I mean, those guys know not to talk on regular landlines.
But they fuck up. And he's the king of fucking up. Like, listen, man, it's such a crazy irony that La Cosa Nostra and the whole mafia concept is about being under the radar, being silent. And John Gotti, he just couldn't shut the fuck up. I love that moment.
Well, go ahead.
In the last episode, well, first to tie this together, one of the prosecutors for the government, when they tried to get Gotti on the first trial, Gotti says, I'm going to beat the rap. And he goes, if you do, I'll come congratulate you. And Gotti beat the rap. And when he went to go party back in his neighborhood, the guy shows up, goes, hey, remember me? I just want to say congratulations. And he said, I left. And he goes, I'll see you down the road. So by this fourth trial, they arrest Gotti, and he goes, Gotti's just being Gotti. He's starting a conversation with me. And he goes, your mother's probably on my side. And the guy goes, you don't really know my mother. And he goes, well, I'm more than likely going to beat this rap. And the guy goes, if I were you, I'd be worried about what you said in the apartment. And then he said Gotti shuts up immediately, and his whole demeanor changes. And I'm just going, if that man could just shut the fuck up, the whole mafia might still be existing on the level that it did. Or he certainly wouldn't have been the reason for the demise of the New York mafia. Because even one of the reporter lady was like, you know, at the height of his John Gottiism, it was the suits. He loved being in the press. He loved working the press. He was flamboyant. He acted like he was a movie star. And somebody should have said to him, what the fuck are you doing? You're not a movie star. You're the head of the Gambino crime family. Act like it. That's crazy, man.
You know who he reminds me a lot of?
Who?
I'm going to tell you, and I want to see your face when I say it. He reminds me of Trump.
I don't see that as off.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see that as off.
Someone who needs to shut the fuck up. He's going to bring down himself.
Right.
He's bringing down the Republican Party.
Right.
He's doing all the shit the same thing that Gotti did. Gotti was, because what's important to say as I'm saying this too, when they talk about the being in the crime family it's just like any other business. They have to have meetings. They have to talk. It's still a business.
Right.
And you have to protect your business. Those two New York guys that never want to shut up, that always end up fucking themselves, those are two guys cut from the same New York cloth, to be honest.
God, yeah. Right. And even the guy that again, one of the main prosecutors, the one that said, if you beat the rap, I'll congratulate you. He said to make a RICO case stick, we need 3 factors. We need boom, boom, and boom. And he goes, when you listen to those tapes, Gotti gives it all to us. He proves it exists. He proves this. And I'm just like, Jesus, man. You would think that, well, even with the obvious, the flamboyancy and the media, you would think somebody from another mafia crew would go, John, stop. Stop. Like, that's insane, man.
The other funny thing, though, going back to the first tapes that they're getting, he's naming everybody, and this is again where like you can't just talk openly when you're in a legal family, and I think this is because Italians all have the same first name. They all have a lot of the same first names, biblical names, but they gave them first and last names of everybody. So they're compiling all this information. They know exactly who it is because when they speak about him. Like Tommy Tonello, everybody's name is coming up.
Yeah.
This is this is where the old style gangsters that came out before, the old mobsters. They talked on the street. They talked while they were walking. They never gave the advantage at all to the government.
Right.
And this is the difference. This technology, whatever you have, it caught up to them. They weren't ready for this. He wasn't ready for it.
I would have loved to have seen Tony Soprano pull John Gotti's coattail.
You know, fucking news in the papers. The fuck are you doing, John? It's like you act like a fucking movie star. You're not a movie star. You're the head of the fucking Gambino crime family. You gotta fucking act like it. It's fucking unbelievable. You're gonna bring in a whole fucking organization.
That was a great plan. This is a place for me to do that.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Instead of fucking hanging out outside at the fucking Ravenite Club with all your fucking guys at Shammy the Bull, maybe you want to hang inside a couple of times. Fucking call down the Hardee's, bring you some fucking sandwiches with the peppers and the fucking sausages.
In Phoenix, though, I did know a lot of people that knew Sammy the Bull.
Really? Oh, you told me because he was in the area, right?
Yeah, he was in the area. He had a restaurant down there. It was good food at the restaurant that he had too, and he was still doing illegal shit. He got in trouble for dealing drugs out of there.
Right.
And then he wouldn't go back into witness protection. And these guys, there's certain guys, and I mean it, that they're cut from a different cloth, man. They're just different.
That's why I would think the mafia is dead, because even when I'm watching these guys in this documentary and they're doing, like, remember back in the day, if a dude did an interview, he was blacked out or they had a voice modifier. Now these motherfuckers is just clear as day, lit camera, makeup, showing their face. And I'm thinking if the mafia is still alive and you're talking, doing an interview, you're essentially to a degree ratting. So you ain't worried about your safety. Right? No?
I still think it's there.
Dude, let me tell you something. because I would be so scared of, because there's only two ways out of that game, death and jail. I would be so scared about going to jail. I would have only butt naked meetings, or when we go to talk business, everybody gotta get butt naked. So no wires. We know ain't no wires. Or we write everything. I write shit down on a paper and pass it around and burn it immediately. Well, that's how fucking cautious I would be.
Well, they used to have, I guess, a lot of meetings in those steam rooms because that's where they would have to be.
Right.
You know, they're just have the towel on, and they would be in the steam room where it would be hard to place a bug. And
right.
You have to, you're talking quiet. I don't know. I really don't know that much about it. I just know that I just can't believe that it's completely gone.
Dude, that one dude who told the story about how he was an enforcer, and one of the rules in the mafia is you don't sleep with another man's wife. So he flew to where the wife was and the dude that was fucking her, and he dressed up as like a UPS guy, and he knocks on the door. The chick opens the door. He has a box. He pushes aside her. He finds her lover, and he sliced his balls. Just sliced his balls. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, what kind of pain is that, nigga?
But can you imagine even trying to get yourself together to go try to save yourself?
As you getting your balls sliced?
Yeah, but now your balls are sliced. Now what do you do?
Ooh, it makes me cringe to be the ball slicer. Like, I gotta slice this nigga's nuts. Oh. Dude, you gotta be crazy to be in the mafia, and you know that's a big no-no, and you know there's the consequences and repercussions of such, and you do it anyway. You know sleeping with another man's wife could get you killed or fucked up, and you do it anyway?
What's that the power of?
Huh?
What's that the power of?
The pussy?
Yeah.
Man, this is where I draw my line now. Pussy get me to do anything damn near. But no, son, if I'm in the mafia, no.
There's one woman left on the earth, and she belongs to the leader of the mafia. There's 100 guys, and she wants to fuck you, and you haven't fucked in 12 years.
Nah, son, I gotta keep my nuts, nigga. Fuck that. Dude, and I don't know if you saw that in that episode, but they made the sling sound, and they showed 2 tangerines with blood splattered on them. I was like, yo! Nah, man.
Wait, would you like to have been the director there? Cut. I get it. His balls just got off. What can we do? What can we do to really convey the message of what just happened here? No, anybody got some fruit?
It conveyed it. It conveyed it. What was else I was gonna say? I just and they talked about.
Do you remember him being on the streets though, Gotti? Are you old enough that you remember him like on the news?
I remember the celebrations. Yeah.
Yeah, the celebrations were huge every time he got off.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to know if you were still remembering.
But one of the other rules that they talked about, and this was alluded to in Godfather 1 too, the old school gangsters were like, no selling drugs.
Yeah.
Do gambling, prostitution, racketeering, but no drugs. They saw as, and he said, what was the rhyme phrase they said? You sell the smack, you get the whack. And the one guy said, a lot of the younger guys were making, 30,000 a week.
Yeah, Gotti's buddy was making $20,000 a week selling cocaine and heroin.
Cocaine and heroin. So it was like, if you obeyed the rules, you were safe, but you were broke. So that's why some of them sold drugs. Again, my thing is, if you're going to be in the game, play the rules, because the consequences are too fucked up.
Yeah, but what they were worried about really was the long sentences, because they were worried that the people would turn.
Right.
And the younger guys weren't making money because they weren't established. They weren't able to. Their crews didn't have a way to make money and kick up money so that they could become more needed in their group.
Right.
So that's why they would take that chance. They would take that chance, and they knew they were doing it. The older guys knew that they were doing it because there's no way they could kick up money like that if they weren't doing it.
Right.
You couldn't get caught. If you got caught, they wanted to take you out.
Yeah, I mean, if you got caught selling the drugs.
Yeah, you got caught. Right. I mean, I don't think that they were getting in. I know they make it sound like they're getting in trouble for dealing drugs. And I don't think that the problem was dealing the drugs. I think it was if you got caught. If you got caught, if you didn't.
No. It was selling the drugs too.
Yeah, but they were looking the other way. They know that they were kicking up a bunch of money, so how else were they getting the money? They had to know. They're looking the other way as long as you weren't getting caught. But the moment you got caught, they wanted to take you out because they didn't want to take the chance that you were going to turn. They were going to turn state's evidence.
Right. And my last thing, I just go, there's really only two ways out of that business: death or jail, unless you turn.
Right.
And even then, you're taking a risk.
Yeah, then it's death.
I just don't understand how you could know that and go, the juice is worth the squeeze. That's why it's like I besides the fact of murdering motherfuckers, which ain't in me, but dude, you either gonna die in this game or you going to jail.
Well, the only way to become a made man is you had to kill somebody. Once you kill someone, don't you think all lines are kind of crossed?
Yeah. I mean, once you have the ability to do that, I would imagine it's easier for you after that.
I think so. I think that's a line that, that you either, like I said, the reason I got out of everything that I was doing wasn't just because I got in trouble. It was because I realized I couldn't go further. I couldn't. And it's not, if someone ripped me off, I wasn't willing to kill them. I wasn't ever going to, and I saw that the business was changing where it was going to be, now you're going to have to protect yourself. You protect it in a different way. People were, it used to be, it sounds so funny, but the weed game was a kinder, gentler business. They weren't trying to kill people. They weren't all fucked up on drugs.
Right.
They were just selling weed. And then that got, as coke and heroin money started to get involved with weed money, and then those people became the same people, that's when it got crazy. And that's when I was like, you have to ask yourself, are you willing to do what it takes to make it in this business? And that would be actually pulling a gun and killing someone that was threatening you. And I couldn't do that. So this is, I think when I'm saying is, if that's what it takes, and you go into that knowing that you're going to have to be a killer to be able to see. And once you make that commitment and then you pull that trigger and you're a different person, I don't think that you could, I think that that's a mentality that you have to have. And as they show young Gotti a little bit throughout this, he was able to he knew that he was able to do that.
Even when they said he got his button by killing the one dude early on in his career, and they said he went to jail for that.
Yeah.
What's happening now where you can kill a motherfucker and still see the light of day?
And it was only like 2 years later. 73 he killed him, and 77 he was out. So 4 years. He was out in the street and so.
How is that even possible?
I don't know. That's one of the questions that I did have, because I didn't understand how he got out that fast. Unless they thought he was an accomplice, not actually the murderer. However, he whatever the lawyers did to get him, he was able to get out. But and then that's the other thing. You kill someone, you get 4 years, and you get made. You're brought up in the business because of it. I guess it's a pretty easy. After you do that first one, I think it would be, I'm not going to say easy, but easy to do it again.
See, that's kind of, and I'm going back to The Godfather. I think once Michael shot McCluskey and Sollozzo, he got a taste. And being ruthless, and the concept of that was nothing to him now.
Because, again, as he says, and I know this sounds, it's cliche now. It's not personal. It's business.
Right.
But those guys were really well known. They didn't kill civilians. I mean, at one point, it got looser as things got out of whack in the mobs. Other people were getting killed outside of the business. But in the business, it stayed small. That's why I think that they were able to survive as long as they did, because they weren't killing civilians on the street. They were killing themselves, and the police usually, especially back in those early times, if you weren't killing the regular citizens, if you were staying within your group and those people, they're like, well,
right,
they're taking care of whatever they have to take care of. We'll be over here. So so maybe you are right. Maybe it is gone, but it just seems maybe they got back to old rules.
Well, there it is.
Check it out though. It's kind of
Gotti is what it's called.
Yeah, there's like 1,000 ones that you could watch. This one was pretty good. I watched another one on the History Channel recently that was really good and went through like about 50 years of the mob,
right?
And that one was really good too. So check them out. There's a bunch of good ones out there right now, but Gotti's a good one. It's worth watching.
You have to excuse my son, Santino. I have a weak spot for my children, as you can see. Sometimes they talk when they should listen. Santino, what do you think about the drug business?
I don't know. There's a lot of white money in that white powder pop.
You know, what we do is a harmless vice, but they're drugs. It's a very dirty business.
All right.
I guess I should give out some dates here.
Picture Marlon Brando's character, Vito Corleone, having a conversation with an old Muhammad Ali.
You know, I like all of your fights. I've seen a lot of your fights. I wasn't necessarily a fan when you tried to destroy Henry Cooper. I don't mind you knocking out the niggas, but you should leave the white guys alone. I'm the greatest. See, I fought all the fighters. I fought Chavalis. I fought Joe Frazier. I fought Sonny Liston. To be the greatest, you got to knock everybody out. Can't just knock out one person. You got to knock out the blacks and the whites and the chinks and the niggas and the honkies.
Could you imagine if you ever heard Muhammad Ali saying that?
So you got to knock out everybody. You got to knock out the wops. You got to knock out the chinks. You got to knock out the spics. You got to knock out the niggas. You got to knock everybody out. And all the races need to be knocked out. That's what I said about the drug business. Frankly, I'm not into killing Italians, but I'll kill a nigga any day of the week. All right, I'm sorry.
All right, this is the end of the year dates. December 15th. Oh, we're off next week. Aries and I are getting a week off. December 15th to the 17th.
But the podcast won't be off.
Nope, we got that wrong. We got that on. December 21st to the 23rd, we're going to be December 15th to the 17th, we're going to be at Summit City in Fort Wayne, Indiana. That's Summit City Comedy Club, Fort Wayne, Indiana. December 21st to the 23rd, Bricktown Comedy Club in OKC. December 28th to the 30th, we're back. End of the year shows. Improv at Washington, D.C.
Yeah! Yeah!
Get your tickets, and if you want to see all dates where Aries is at, you can find it at Aries Spears 45. No, Aries Spears
45.
That was your Hotmail. AriesSpears.com is where you can check out Aries.
Yeah,
page.
and if you want to write into the podcast, Aries Spears 45
at Hotmail.
So, Christopher Walken is in the airport. He's trying to catch his flight, and Tracy Morgan is the ticket agent. Did I miss my flight? Yeah! Why?
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this shit, it was hosted by Aries Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer, Big Papa, Robert Kelly, and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.